was put into place to make clear distinctions of how animals on farms could be treated and how they should not be treated and how they cannot be treated according to law. Unfortunately, because of the sadistic caliber of a lot of the people who find themselves working in slaughterhouses, it's as if that law never passed. It's as if there's no such thing as a state cruelty code. And we found that the managers of these farms don't even train these people. They're supposed to bring in animal vets. They're supposed to bring in livestock vets to put down animals. There's a whole number of things that law compels these farms to do. And in case after case, we find that they're not doing even the minimal care that these animals deserve. And when we busted these cases, it's led to things like Proposition 2 in California, which happened just a few years ago and called for sweeping reforms of treatment of animals in slaughterhouses. And it won bipartisan support and went through and was enacted into law. And I think in the wake of that law happening in California, the ag communities in other parts of the country thought, oh, that's us next, because we've had PETA with cameras here in our states. And so they're trying to, instead of trying to fix the problem, they're sticking their head in the sand and trying to make it unlawful for such cases to be able to be even documented, which is a thing that thwarts law enforcement, and it's a thing that prevents the public from making an educated choice as a consumer about whether or not they really want to eat this sort of thing.
Any questions?
So have there been any of these investigations in New York, on New York farms with the videos that have resulted like this?
Yes, there was a major case, it was a number of years ago on Commonwealth Farms in Hudson Valley. It was a place that force-fed geese for foie gras. It was a case that I worked on personally up here, testified here at the state capitol about. They found that the way they treated the animals went beyond the standards and norms of how livestock animals should be treated. These were ducks and geese who had a pipe rammed down their throat and were filled full of food 5 times a day, to such an extent that some of the animals' organs fused together. They could not stand up, they couldn't walk, and the footage from the farm was such a sensation that it eventually led to the state of California banning the production of foie gras, and it led to a lot of consumers being aware of how it was made. It did not result in convictions. That was one of our early cases, but it did result in opening a lot of people's eyes.
Is that farm still operating?
Yes, it's changed names a few times, but I do believe it is still operating.
And just as a side note, I actually have legislation here in the Senate to ban the force feeding of geese for the production of foie gras.
I think people are generally good-hearted. They just assume that because there's something like a Humane Slaughter Act, well, the animals must be just as happy as can be. We find that case after case, farm after farm, it's just not the way it is.
Would you like to see more investigations in New York?
I think every slaughterhouse should have cameras in it. The investigators for the USDA are in so few places. There is so poor oversight. There's zero oversight in many places that PETA believes, and I believe Senator Avella as well, would love to see more cameras. That way the laws would be more easily enforced. And the owners of these outfits would take these laws much more seriously.
How did the vote go in the Senate? What was the number?
Well, no, it just passed out of committee. What was the vote?
You were the only 2 Democrats?
Yes. No, there were more Democrats.
There were 6 in favor. There were 6 votes in favor, 2 I was